the Galaxie gives you lemons, you make lemonade. The 390, we can't work on it right now. We got a lot of little things we need to do, and that's going to cost some money. So we're moving on to something else on the car, and that is the 4-speed shifter, because it is busted. Knew it was busted when we bought it, and now we're going to go in and show you how to potentially fix the 4-speed shifter on one of these cars. It's an Autolite shifter. I'm not hoping for much. Restoration of a classic Ford is a journey of discovery. Let AutoKrafters help you with yours. We offer quality parts for Falcon, Fairlane, F-Series, Galaxie, Maverick, and Pinto. Contact us today. All right, what you're going to run into with a lot of this kind of stuff when you're working on a shifter like the one we have from our Galaxie that's busted is you're going to have to buy another shifter, complete, redone, and pay about 500 bucks-ish for them for a really good Autolite shifter, or buy one that is for your transmission that's a Hurst shifter. But then, if you do that, you're going to have a harder time using your original stock arm for it. Now this is the one that was in the car already. This is not correct for our Galaxie. The one that's correct for a bench seat car I'm going to bring in here in a second. And it's actually technically not even listed as a Galaxie part. It's actually listed as a Fairlane part, but we'll get into that in just a minute. So what I did is I spooked around on eBay and I found this busted shifter. It's not really busted, it's actually very complete, but someone has modified it by gas axing it right here and repositioning the mounting hole here from way out here where this one is to a little bit further in. It's actually pretty well done except for the gas axe work. I mean, you would almost, if they had cut that flat, you might not even realize that they had modified it. But it says on the tag that came on it, the 62 to 64 Ford, Fairlane, and Galaxie T10 4-speed shifter. Base has been ground. I can't read the rest of it. It's man speak, so in any case, that's what we got. All of these shifters are common, but you have to be careful because the T10 Borg-Warner shifter is different on the mounting positions than it is on a Ford top loader. So if you have an early Galaxie with a T10, that's where your problem is going to lie. You have to make sure you get a T10 shifter, which this one is. It's just been modified for Lord only knows what over the preceding almost 60 years. Now, all that said, I bought this one because I knew that the basic base plate of this is still in good shape on the Galaxie, but it is missing some vital components. And some of these vital components are different between the different cars. The 3-speeds use a larger center shaft, so you can't use 3-speed stuff, so you have to have a 4-speed shifter. This one here, the one that was originally in the car, is trashed. It's missing the spring, it's missing the washer, it's missing the C-clip that holds all of this assembly together, and in the car, most of the bolts are gone. It's missing this bolt. Somebody's gone in and put in a screw with a bunch of washer or a bunch of nuts on it. I don't even know what this crap is. It does still have the original brace in here. That's still on it. One of The nuts is still here. That's this one. There should be a corresponding longer one on this side. So we're going to use parts off of 3 transmissions to repair this. Sadly, a lot of this stuff is just not available right now. You can't get any of the parts for the shift arms and stuff, and these are specific to the Borg Warner. It is basically made of unobtainium. All right, I'm going to look at a couple of other things on here. Just kind of go through what we've got. This, the plate that holds the spring assembly and indeed all the shift arms together, it's been jacked with down here because this is way open. This one actually has a smaller hole for adjusting the position of the shift arms. So we'll pull this plate off and put it on here. Like I said, we're missing a bunch of fasteners on this. This one doesn't even have the correct fasteners on it. Somebody's gone in and just mucked around with all that. This one, we'll take all the stuff we need off of it. We're going to chuck that backing plate because it doesn't fit anything. It's not a correct backing plate. So we're hoping to get a decent shifter to put back in the car so that we can start working on the rest of the 4-speed assembly. I'm going to pull all this out of the way and talk about the shift arms because there's a couple of things on that I've learned in the interim, and then we're going to start going through and tearing down the shifter. So let me get that other shift arm that we got from the guys at AutoKrafters. All right, so what I've got on the table here, or the runway for our lift, is the 2 shifters that Ford offered for the Galaxie. And I'm going to say that these 2 shifters are not necessarily correct. This one, I think, is the shifter for a 4-speed with console in a Galaxie. It was a shorter shifter for some reason. At least that's what I've been told. This is the bench seat shifter, which is longer, but this actually isn't the bench seat shifter. This is the bench seat shifter from the Fairlane for 1963 or so for a 4-speed. So what we did is we gambled, and we contacted the guys at AutoKrafters and picked this Scott Drake shifter up so that we can use it in our Galaxie, and lo and behold, it's a perfect fit. It works just fine. It sits right where it's supposed to. There are things that are different. I'm not going to go into all those. There's difference in the chip tabs and all this kind of stuff, but I'm not going to do that. I just want to let you know that, oddly, this one is not available anymore in the aftermarket, and this one is. And if you have a bench seat Galaxie, this Fairlane shifter will work. Bada bing, bada boom. Out of the way, I'm going to start taking them apart. All right, this is a 7/16. I'll pop this off here so we can take the plate off. We're also going to have to take the ham-fisted work of someone else off of here as well. Now, any of these fasteners that are correct, like this one, we're going to try to retain them and put them back into use. These are specific and small on this side, longer on the other side because it goes through to the back. But you can see this is a very short with a serrated washer on it, and this is what goes in here. So I'm going to try to get this thing out of here. Always exciting to find what people have done with the car. This is a non-factory fastener. Goes away. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my first photograph. Now this is our first piece coming off. This is the top plate. We probably won't be reusing this one because it's not right, so to speak. But we want to take a picture of this thing as it comes apart. I'm going to set everything up over here and take these pieces off, noting how they are when they come off of the shaft assembly. We're going to do this twice because we're going to do it with a new one as well. Second longest. Now this is your plate that's part of your reverse lockout system on the 4-speed. I do believe this is your reverse rod. This is the rod that controls the reverse system on the car. This is the 1, 2, 3, 4 shift rods are over here. I'm going to pull this plate off and take a look at it. If you look, you can see that the center tab on this one is busted. There should be a tab there that comes over. We'll show that on the other shifter when we start taking this one apart. I'm going to put everything for this shifter on this side, everything for this shifter on this side, and then we're going to start looking at what we need to fix and replace. This one's going to have to go away because it's broken. Now this is your reverse. You put this back on here quickly so I can get a shot of it. Sometimes I work too fast. And this is your reverse rod. That's your shortest. Now note that when I set this stuff up over here, I have them set on the tabletop in order that they came out from last to first, or first thing to come out to last thing to come out. There's a drift pin in here. You see how much motion there is in this drift pin? That's probably going to cause us a bit of a problem for tightening up the shifter, because I'm going to have to drift that pin out of here in just a second. But that being that loose could be a real problem for us with this being the way it is. We may end up having to use the other shifter for this. So I'm going to go get me a hammer and a drift, and I will knock that thing out of there. All right, I got me a hammer and I got me a drift. I'm going to take this and hopefully knock this out of here pretty quickly. Sometimes these pins are kind of hard to get out. To push out. I may have to resort to other means, so to speak, to get this thing to pop, because right now I'm not able to get that out with just using a pin. So we will stop on that action for a second and we'll move over to the other shifter. Now this one is another one that's kind of a conglomeration of a bunch of other stuff. Well, they wanted that sucker to stay on there. Right, bring in the troops. Yes, I know this isn't an impact. Once again, this is not the correct fastener for this. This could be a fastener that's part of the bolts for the transmission side of it, so we're going to put that over there. That nut and washer don't belong. I think that's a 7/16. Bottom one may be a 1/2 inch. Nope, 7/16. Now, I've taken this loose. Actually should probably stop and pull this C-clip out. You have to drop the spring and I kind of cheat a little bit and spin it around here and pop it out. So the C-clip comes off, goes there. Your washer is next, and then your spring, and then a washer again. And now you're down to the main plate on this. And I got to get this other bolt out, because again, that's not retainable. So we got this. Now you'll note that this one has something that the other one didn't have. There's a thin washer between this and the outside plate here. So that thin washer is something we're going to want to keep where it's at. So I'm going to set that aside this way. Another plate. Another washer. Now this is actually the plate for the tab on this, and this one's a little bent. but there's more of it here than there is on this one. This one's missing quite a lot of itself, so it actually goes here, goes there. This comes off. Nothing between them there. That's everything removed. This one does not have the center pin in it. And if I can get the pin out of the other one, this one feels like it's a little bit tighter than this pin assembly is here. Now, this one has a little bit of lost motion or wiggle in the shaft assembly that this one does not, but I'm not crazy about the fact that someone's gone in and actually knocked the outer edge on this off, because you can see where it's supposed to ride, and they've cut into a good bit of the ride surface, whittling it down, so to speak. This is a discard piece. We won't be using this again because we don't need it. I'm just not going to chuck it because it's going to make a lot of noise. All right, well, that's them torn apart. I'm going to go try to take this thing apart using a bench vise as a press. I quit. I mean, I don't quit in general. I just quit on this. I have tried 2 different methods for removing that pin that I was just hammering on once again, because I thought maybe after all the other muckety muck I've done to it, it would come out. It's not going to. I've tried using a press method where I put a punch on the end of it and a socket on the back side of the saddle to push it out. That didn't work. I tried the hammer and chisel method that almost everybody I've talked to about these shifters does. That didn't work. So I may end up, because the saddle on this one is pretty wrecked, I may end up sending it out and having the guys at Ford 4 Speeds on eBay fix for me, but I don't know how long that's going to take to get back. It may be a little while. So next week we're just going to come back and show the building portion of how to put the shifter back together and the things you need to do to make that shifter nice and tight for operation. But we know that the saddle is going to be a problem with that one, so we probably are going to have to redo some of that, and we'll come back to that at a later date. Speaking of things that we need to do, well, I'd like for you to do anyways, to go out and check out the Patreon account. At the $10 a month level, you get monthly meetings with me on Zoom. It's pretty cool. But with that money, you're basically also helping Andrew and the kids that come in here on Saturdays to be able to, come here, and they work better when they make a little bit of money. And if we've done anything for you, I mean, if you've gotten anything out of the channel, it's just a nice way to say thank you for what we've done for you in the past, or even as we keep going on forward. It's just another way to be able to help support the channel. This is how we make our living, so you got to make a living, so that's how we're doing it. Also, subscribe to the channel. We're at about 94,000 subscribers by the time you see this, hopefully. So we're trying to get to that 100,000 number so that we can get the JPEG from the guys that you put on the wall, because I figure by the time we get there, it's going to be, they're handing out free JPEGs of the silver plaque. I'm just going to tell you to print it on a black and white printer and it'll be a silver plaque. I don't know that for true, and I'm not saying that's what they do. I'm just saying that owing to how things can be around here, sometimes that's what's going to probably happen. Do me a favor though, like each other, love each other, treat each other nice. You guys have a great week, and we'll see you on down the road. I'm really tired of hammering things and pressing things today, because this I thought would be a fairly easy move. I've done this before 150 bajillion times on things just about like this. I did this on 2 different ones. The one that we're actually using and the one that's more of a junk piece that I could possibly use the main bracket for, but the rest of the shaft assembly is pretty trashed. Neither one of them came out. But I figured if I could get one out, I'd be able to get the other one out. Now I'm just sweaty, making a racket with it now, and hot. I'm just ready to go in, drink a cold adult beverage, possibly something a little more strong than a beer today.